Hello everybody, welcome to my home. We are in a very chaotic and uncertain and unprecedented time right now, all of us. And as I said in my message, I'm approaching this new challenge from the perspective that I know you didn't sign up for an online piano class, and I know that one of my teaching philosophies is that if you're in class and you're doing the work, you'll do pretty well. So it's a little unnerving for me to not be able to be there with you and show you and know that you're making progress in class. But I think at the same time, as this is the fourth semester that we've been together, you especially are set up to do just fine. So be kind of like an independent study. And what I've decided to do is I'm going to tape short videos each Monday and Wednesday and release them during class time. I will have you watch the videos, practice what's discussed in the video, and then let you know what is expected of you regarding a skills check. So moving forward, this week in particular, today, the demonstration is going to be specifically about what's required of you for next Monday's skills check. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to do a video about proficiency exam requirements, because that is something that we're still working towards and is very much top priority. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get to the things that I'm expecting you to prepare for next week. So first things first, I'm going to have you work on G major, G melodic minor scales with chords and arpeggios. I found a resource that I will post in the announcement that I post this on, that has recently been made to be a free resource. And it's an aerial view of someone playing 2-octave major scales. And so instead of you just watching me play a G major scale right now, I'm going to talk through whatever you need to take note of with the scale and go through the chords, but then I'm going to give you the opportunity, if you need it, to use the resource I mentioned instead of just sitting here watching me play a scale from an angle. So G major. If we were in class, I'd say, what's the key signature? And you would say 1 sharp. Sorry, I don't know. This is an interesting thing, not having any feedback from class. You're probably laughing at me right now. That's okay. You should be. 1 sharp. So this is a white key scale. We're going to use C major fingering, which means the turns are 3, 4, 3. I'm specifically asking for G melodic minor because I've noticed in the recent past that that seems to be the most iffy scale for a lot of you. So I thought we'd zero in on that, especially since it's just a standard fingering. So if we were in class, I would say, which scale degrees do we raise? Going up, and you'd say 6 and 7. And what do we lower coming down? 6 and 7. So I'm going to ask for you to record hand separate, G major, G melodic minor. Now the arpeggios I will demonstrate. Since it's white, white, white for major and white, black, white for minor, we just use C major fingering. So if I were to start with my left hand, I'd stretch my hand out. 5, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. And something to just take note of, when you're playing an arpeggio, you want to try to avoid your wrist raising and lowering too much. You want to encourage lateral motion. So right hand, I'll go ahead and play the minor arpeggio. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 5. majors and the minors. So starting with root position, when I go to first inversion, remember that the 4 chord, which will be C in this case, is root position. Outer notes move in a half step, and then back. Second inversion, our newest addition to the chord progression. Remember, the root position chord is the 5 chord, the D chord. So when I play G, second inversion, when I go to my 4 chord, the outer 2 notes shift up for our C chord. And then root position, D, F sharp, C. That's likely the inversion that you'll need the most attention on. For the minor chords, we have G minor, C minor, and D7. Again, when I go to first inversion, the 4 chord is going to be in root position, C minor. And noticing when you're playing the minor first inversion, when you go to the 5 chord, the lower note moves in a whole step. Okay, second inversion. Outer 2 notes shift for C minor. Okay, so you'll be working through those and you'll send me a recording of each component. I'm really flexible with how you get these to me, whether you want to do one take, separate takes. We're just all going to have to be flexible, and that's okay. Just like this week I'm asking for melodic minor only, I'm going to try to limit how many different requirements I'm having you record each week, but since we just came off of a break and all of that, I want to hit everything this week. So, okay, so the other thing I wanted to cover today is page 241 through 243 in your book, Alexander's Ragtime Band. Now for the assignment, sorry, I'm reading my little outline here of what to talk about. For the assignment, I'm asking you to learn part 3. And since ensemble playing and playing together is so important in this class, and we can't do that so much when we're all at home, I am going to record and post myself playing parts 1 and 2. So for the assignment, you're going to have a device, you'll press play so that you hear parts 1 and 2, and then you're going to play part 3 against that recording. Okay, so if we look at part 3, think about what key we're in. We have 1 flat. So we're in the key of either F major or D minor. And since I see a bunch of F, C7, F, C7, we're in the key of F. Now, if you look at how they have you breaking up the accompaniment, your left hand all the way through is going to be taking the root of the listed chord and the 5th of the listed chord. So in this case, F major, my left hand's playing F and then C. Now this is important. The right hand should use the inversions from our chord progression. So if we were in the key of F, and if I were to play the root position chord progression, it would look like this. And my suggestion would be for you to pause the video right now and do that. I would have you do that in class. So finding the F chord, the B flat, and the C7. So all the way throughout, you want to use those familiar inversions for the accompaniment. So starting with F. In measure 3, we go to C7. Now, my right hand, I want to use this inversion for the accompaniment because it's the closest, most accessible chord. So if I were to follow the pattern that they establish, my left hand would play C, the root of the chord, and G, the 5 of the chord. Now, I'm going to give an alternate option. Especially because this is so new, this format, I'm not there to help you and check how it's going. I am comfortable if you just play the root of the chord in the left hand. So going to the C chord, I'm okay with that. If you follow the pattern that they write, you would play C, G, but it's okay. I want you to be playing with the recording. I want you to be focusing on not stopping. So if you just want to play root, plan on it. So the first line would sound like this. Then on measure 5, I go to B flat. Again, use your familiar B flat chord. It's the 4 in this key. And feel free to just play the root. Or alternate between the root and the 5th. And then at the end of the line, they give a little change as the phrase comes to a close. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and play this measures 1 through 8 so that you are certain you know what I'm asking. And I'm going to go ahead and just play root in the left hand, okay? Okay, so then moving on, notice that in measures 9 through 12, when they notate exactly what they want, it's because it's a change. So these few measures are pretty simple. You just play on beat 1, 2, 3, 4, exactly what's written. Now in measure 13, we have a G7 chord. Now G7 is not diatonic to the key of F. If we were to play a G7 chord that was diatonic to the key of F, it would be a G minor 7 chord. But remember, when we use pop chord symbols, the symbol overrides the key signature. So when I see G7, that's a dominant 7 chord, G, B, D, F. And if you notice in part 2, which you're not playing, this like counter melody has a B natural, okay? So what my suggestion would be, I think, okay, G7, let me use my familiar chord. If I were in the key of C, this would be my G7 chord, B, F, G. So I'm just gonna use that. You can use a root position, G, B, D, F, that's fine, but I'm using what I know, okay? So a G7 is technically a G6-5, and it leads right to C major, okay? And then they have you do a C7. So that's an option. Then we have familiar chords, F, C7, F, C7, B flat. It doesn't change and get a little weird until measure 28. But they notate it for you. It's a G sharp diminished chord. And then in measure 30, an F sharp diminished chord. And at the very end here, the last 2 measures, I would probably play all root position chords at the end here. Because there's so much motion, I'm trying to simplify the process. So I'd probably play G minor, and then a C7, and then F. You could also say, hey, C7 is right here. flat C. That's perfectly fine. And now that I'm doing it, that does feel easier, but just know the purpose of this is to work on improvising accompaniments off of chords, and there usually isn't one right answer. So use what's closest, use what makes most sense. So you're going to practice this, part 3, and then what I'm going to expect you to do for your skills check, like I said, is to press play on the recording that I'm going to send, the audio recording, and you're going to play against it. So you'll hear 1, 2, 3. I'm trying to play both. You get the idea. So you're essentially accompanying the recording. Okay? Now, this whole thing, just like you all are last minute having to figure out how to be online only students, I'm trying to figure out how to be an online only instructor. This is going to be imperfect. So I just ask for your flexibility and patience. We're going to figure this out. I care about all of you and about your success. I'm going to say a little bit more Wednesday because I don't want to make this be too long. But I'm going to open up time slots for one-on-one sessions and coachings, and it's going to be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Just like we would in class, take what we did and practice everything thoroughly, and just make sure you're double checking Canvas, all right? One last thing, I know I said I'm going to stop, I'm sorry. You guys know me. I'm going to open up a discussion board just for general questions that I can answer and that your classmates can answer. So don't hesitate to ask. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourself, and I'll post another video on Wednesday.